Good morning and welcome. So, Dawn, for some reason, it's on Helen, not me. Dawn, hello? Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Laguna Beach in our live virtual service. My name is Donna McCartney and I'm honored to be your worship associate today. The title of our service is The Creative Spirit. In each heart lives the flame of truth, bringing warmth and light, hope and inspiration to the human journey. Lighting our chalice on Sunday mornings is a reminder of that inner flame and of the need to nourish it and share it with one another. We are gathering this morning as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light our chalice as a beacon of hope in these unsettling pandemic times. We're delighted to have Oakley and Linda Frost lighting our chalice this morning. Over the years, Oakley and Linda have filled many key roles in our fellowship, including serving on the Board of Trustees, Worship Committee, Committee on Shared Ministry, Choir, being discussion group leaders, and many other positions too numerous to list today. So Oakley and Linda, would you please light the chalice for us? And you may light yours at home too, if you choose. All right, thank you very much. So let's talk about lighting the chalice. For the wonder of inspiration we seek from sun, stars, and all the lights of heaven, we light this chalice. May the light of understanding illuminate our darkness. May the warmth of caring bring us healing and peace. We are the warmth. We are the light. On your screen, coming on your screen next is our centering thought for today. You'll be muted while I read it, but feel free to read it from home along with me. Within each of us is what is best described as a creative spirit. It is the source of our creative power and creative ability. It has a passion to create and a passion to freely express itself. It is the source of what animates our life. If this creative spirit is unable to freely express itself to one degree or another, we will never find fullness of being and satisfaction in life that never runs dry. The free expression of our creative spirit is key to creating a life worth living. So we're delighted to have our music director, Carole, singing and playing for us on the piano this morning. So we'll be muted while Carole sings and plays hymn number 1021, Lean on Me. Please feel free to sing along from home if you choose hymn number 1021, Lean on Me. Carole?
Always to
Thank you very much, Carole. That was so beautiful. So right now we're going to read a affirmation together. You're going to be unmuted, and so we can all hear each other read. The affirmation is coming on the screen, and let's read together.
Everyone, please unmute yourself.
Oh, everyone unmute yourself. Thank you, Don. If you're not unmuted, check and see. Looks like a lot of people are still muted. Okay. All right, here we go. You ready? Mm-hmm. Love is the
spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
There's a website that's called Our Creative Spirit. The website says that our creative spirit contains all that we seek in life in two ways. One way is it's the source of our ability to create what we desire. The other way is that it's the source of inner joy and happiness that fills us every time we exercise our creative spirit. It provides an experience of heaven on earth when we are free to dance and play with our creative spirit. It provides hell on earth when our mind restricts and limits our creative spirit. It will become dormant and inactive and seemingly dead when it's not free to express itself. Unitarian Universalists accept you for who and what you are. We're a welcoming congregation with membership open to all. We subscribe to no single creed, but have gathered a set of religious principles that guide us as we build religious community together. Our minister is Reverend Lee Marie Sanchez. She's not able to be with us this morning, as she usually joins us for our virtual services, but she's off to Orange Coast UU to work with them. So right now it's time for our joys and sorrows time. If you are so moved, you may briefly share a joy or a sorrow. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. This is not a time for announcements, but rather a moment to express something in your heart. If you have something to share, please raise your hand. We'll call on you and unmute you when it's your turn. So the mission of our congregation goes on even though we're not together. The costs that go with that mission continue even though we cannot pass the offertory basket every Sunday morning like we used to. Most of us pledge to give a monthly or yearly amount of money for the mission of our fellowship. You're now going to see the screen that shows you how you can contribute to help us keep our mission for world peace and social justice. Please give generously and with love. You should also know that the links to these sites are on the email that was sent to you to let you know about this service. So it's easy to click on the link and set it up. If you're not receiving emails, or if you want to talk to someone about making a contribution, or anything else for that matter, to the UUFLB, click on the chat button on the bottom of your screen and leave us your name and email address, and we will contact you. Now it's time for our meditation. Let's draw inside ourselves as we meditate together. If you want to join us, you can close your eyes, relax in your chair, put your feet on the floor, shoulders back, hands and arms relaxed. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Follow the movement of your breath. Let's share a quiet moment of meditation as we ponder our creative spirit.
Hey.
So now Carole Cole will sing and play another song for us, hymn number 1052, The Oneness of Everything. We will be muted, but feel free to sing along from home. Carole?
I'm not seeing Carole. I think Carole might have just dropped off. I just unmuted her during the meditation, and I think she just dropped off.
Oh, okay. So Carole had some problems this morning with, we lost her. So what we're going to do is we're going to postpone that song until later on. And if she's able to join us again, hopefully she came back before, so hopefully she'll come back again, and we will have her sing that song for us. So the time. Oh, you're back. Okay. So Carole, go ahead.
Hopefully for it'll last. Oh. Far beyond the grasp of hands, or light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There's life that keeps nature's harmony in an architecture so entwined. Like the birds whose feathers grace the sky, and carry all the joy and love expanding. Message of peace, new rising light, taking the weight of the world in the oneness of everything. Still we seek to find a truth that we might understand, and be distant turns can find vast and immeasurable time and space, while so overwhelmingly oh, passing years, just like time of fate, that winters in the heart to be reborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life, tears my soul as a song to sing. Of the oneness of everything.
Thank you very much, Carole. It was beautiful. So the title of our sermon this morning is The Creative Spirit. The UU principle that I think ties it in with our topic today is the third one. Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Developing and expanding our creative spirit helps us feel satisfied and empowered. During the course of talking to each other, we can empower each other and build community. If we ask each other questions which help us to find out what makes each of us tick, we can then use that information to encourage each other to do activities that may foster and develop our creative spirit. This is how we build our beloved community. The service this morning is a sermon that appeared in the August issue of Faith Rocket, which is a UU publication. It was written by Reverend Peggy Clarke, who was a senior UU minister at the Community Church of New York. One of the reasons why I chose this service for us is that Reverend Clarke talks about how the kindergarten classroom is a perfect place for developing creative spirits, the nature of the beast. And I chose it because I was a kindergarten teacher. I was a teacher for many years, and for me, it was a calling. It nurtured my creative spirit. So Reverend Clarke starts her sermon by saying, "My son is in kindergarten. Every morning before we leave for school, I check his backpack for the essentials, a sweater, a snack packed neatly into his backpack, his Star Wars lunchbox, and an empty water bottle to be filled up at school, some toy cars in case he gets bored on the bus, and one blue plastic folder, standard issue for all kindergartners. It gets put into the backpack empty each morning, and in the afternoon, it returns filled with papers. Sometimes there are flashcards with new sight words, or a note from the school about an upcoming assembly. But every day, without exception, there's paper colored with crayons or glitter or something else to give it flair. Which means that in the class every day, without exception, each 5-year-old has a reason to draw something, to paint something, to cut shapes from colored paper, and to paste it onto something. And every day that blue folder is filled with treasures of the day's lessons and adventures. Pictures of butterflies emerging from a cocoon, of the earth rotating around the sun, or of maybe horses flying over a forest of lollipops. Reverend Clarke says, if you ask my son what he can draw, he'll say anything. What do you want? Want to see me riding a bicycle over the ocean? Or how about grandma learning ninja moves from her cats? Or how about daddy playing soccer in outer space against a team of tigers? My son can do it all. And at 5 years old, he's encouraged to do it all. It's part of the day's curriculum. They learn math and reading and science. They play outdoors and they color and paint and glue things. Hanging in every cubby is a smock ready on a moment's notice. In kindergarten, everything is in one room. Everything you need is right there. There's paint and music. There's room to dance. There's science experiments. There's lab equipment and material to read and to write and sing and to build. Those things are available in middle school and high school and college, but they are in different rooms, maybe different buildings. And as we get older, we limit access to them. The older we get, the more specialized and focused we get. This room is for painting, and that room is for singing, and that room over there is for science experiments. And with each passing year, we discern, generally for ourselves, but sometimes for each other, who belongs in which room. Are you a singer? Can you dance? Can you act? That's your room over there. Or maybe you need to find another building. Our birthrights as artists and dreamers is drained away from us. Daydreaming is part of the creative process. Reverend Clarke says, I spend a lot of time daydreaming. I imagine beautiful old houses. I decorate them in my mind. Ceilings and walls, windows and floors, furniture. I imagine textures and colors and scents in each room. The other direction my daydreams go is imagining the perfect community. It's always attached to a farm where animals are safe and a place where people can work and have their needs met and be cared for. A place everyone is getting what they need. I created this beloved community, she says, in my mind over and over again. Daydreaming is a critical part of the creative process and a key to how we survive in a world that can be cold and lonely and frightening. It's how we know where we want to go and how we're going to get there. It's the door into whatever's next. Reverend Clarke says, the other day I called a man I know. This man is at the top of his game, well known and respected in his field. He's met with the Pope and the Dalai Lama. And he recently turned down an invitation to the White House because he had something more important to do. When I called his cell phone, he answered the phone a little bit dazed. And then he confessed that he had been daydreaming. I laughed and apologized for disturbing him doing the most important thing in his day. And he didn't get it. He responded by saying, I hope not, but actually I meant it. Daydreaming is important to the creative spirit. I think that for this man to do all that he does, says Reverend Clarke, to imagine the world a better place, to build the world we all dream about, he's going to need to do a whole lot of daydreaming. He got thousands of people to go to St. Peter's Square at the Vatican for a massive encyclical and demonstration of support for a encyclical that the Pope produced. It was called Laudito Si, on care for our common home. You might have seen it on TV or read about it. The only way for that to happen is to be willing to dream big, to let your imagination run free. Reverend Clarke says, daydreaming is not a waste of time like we've been led to believe. It's the mandatory preliminary action without which nothing else can be done. First we dream, first we imagine beloved community, and then we let ourselves believe that what we wish can come true, that we can believe it. Trusting in our creativity and indulging our imagination is our only option if we want transformation, if we want to build the new world that exists in our dreams. I want to thank Minister Peggy Clarke for her wise words about fostering our creative spirits. Now we're going to take turns to find out what you do to foster your creative spirit. If there's something on your mind and you want to share, please raise your hand. We'll call on you and unmute you when it's your turn, and I will go first. My creative spirit soars when I work on putting together a service for you on a Sunday. Just like my creative juices flowed when I was teaching children in kindergarten, I asked myself, what's the best way I can get this information across to you, members of our congregation, or to my students in a classroom when I used to teach? There are a lot of similarities between being a worship associate and a teacher. When I get into the flow of ideas, it can be quite exhilarating for me. Now it's your turn. What gets your creative juices flowing? What are your thoughts about fostering creative spirit? If you want to share your creative experiences or your thoughts about creativity in general, please raise your hand. We'll call on you and unmute you when it's your turn. So who would like to go first to talk about anything that they heard during this fellowship? Patrick, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. Thank you. So, I spend a lot of time with my daughter watching her, a single father, so it's a little tricky, and I do a lot of time also working from home. But I like to create these stencils, street art. I do spray paints on underpasses sometimes, and that's pretty cool. I've got a computer-controlled laser cutter, and I use it to make, like I said, stencils. And yeah, that's mostly where my creative focus is right now. I'm trying to get better at it, and hopefully I can get some more practice, take some classes or something, and get a following or something. So that's something that I'm really excited about.
It looks like you have beautiful work, so thank you for sharing that, and good luck with fostering your creative spirit through your art. It's wonderful. Okay, anyone else want to share today something that touched them about the message from Reverend Clarke? Noreen? Go ahead, Noreen. Are you unmuted? Unmute yourself. Oh, you're still muted.
Okay, there it is. I was about to say, well, I'm enjoying learning how to paint, but in fact, the thing that gives me more pleasure, and fulfillment really right now is writing family memories for my posterity. I have a lot of loose papers of obituaries and things like that around the house, and copies and copies of photos. and just putting them together in a coherent way so people can see relationships between people. I'm talking about my grandkids, but the relationships between people and some of the interesting stories that they've imagined their antecedents went through but never knew. So the challenge for me right now is there's some really juicy family stories. I think every family has them, and it's like, oh, should I pass that on? I was always critical, I think, of my mother for not telling us things about her family, but now I'm in the same position. I have to be discreet. But I did trace the relationship. My mother's family was descended from Susan B. Anthony's family, so I have that all down pat, you know, the relationship for my kids to fully appreciate their cousin, many times removed, Susan B. Anthony.
That's wonderful. Wow. And that's so important too, to pass on our family story and family history.
Mm-hmm.
And
the good ones.
I'm sure that your children and their children and go on further forever will really appreciate that. I know that the older I get, the more I appreciate having memorabilia from my ancestors as well. All right, did we get everyone, or is there someone else who would like to share? Okay, so it looks like that's everyone. So then now we're going to switch back to Oakley and Linda to extinguish our chalice. So Oakley and Linda, would you please extinguish the chalice for us? And we need to, oh, there she goes. Very good. Thank you both so much for doing that today. I like your chalice too. Very nice. We extinguish this flame, knowing that its light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together again. Ansel Adams said, "No one has the right to dictate what others should perceive, create, or produce, but all should be encouraged to reveal themselves, their perceptions and emotions, and to build confidence in their creative spirit." As we close our virtual service this morning and return back to a world filled with to-do lists and obligations, let's honor our creative spirit by making time to do things that make us smile, that make us happy to be alive, and that honor us in the deepest parts of our soul. Go in peace and namaste. So let's end our service like we always do by singing together our closing song, "Let There Be Peace on Earth." You'll be muted at home, but feel free to sing along with Carole. Also, we will have our virtual cafe afterwards, after she's finished, and we can share and chat with each other. If you like to stick around and can join us, we'd love to have you. So thank you all for joining us this morning. Carole? Looks like Carole's still having, oh, there she goes.
No.
Okay.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With earth as our mother, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my song about. Take each moment, live each moment in peace, eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you so much, Carole. So beautiful. And if everyone can unmute themselves now, hit unmute, and then we